And no better way to start it than myself and the ever so wonderful Jay, who's going to be joining me to walk through this one. Jay, initial thoughts. Epsilon, talented lineup, but what are you thinking? What's the real crux of this match?
I mean, do you know what? I have to say I'm super excited to watch this one because these are two lineups that I have been hyped about since I first got involved in Tier 2 Counter-Strike. Epsilon with that very strong lineup. They recently brought in that British new boy, Smooya, who has already made front page Reddit just by competing in Prem. And of course, Penta Sports, the legends themselves. Well, not legends now. They are not in the... they got eliminated in the Swiss system for Major. But either way, still a lineup that I rate nonetheless. It's going to be Epsilon starting things off on the T side. We've got a Tech-9 Raid Boss on Cosmin, double flash Molotov for Barbar, a smoke on Made, and the defuse kit is over for Crystal with the utility buy.
Exactly what you want to see, right? Playing it nice and slow as well, giving us a hell of a lot of time to really break down what this pistol is going to be, of course, as Epsilon literally doing nothing here. They are just sitting tight, wrapping onto these corners, getting ready to gear out a play towards B. Of course, the man himself to lead the charge is going to be Cosmi. This guy's been on fire recently, has been putting in work, especially within their scrims, bear in mind. So exciting to see how he can pop off in this game, and he's actually done a pretty good job of being distraction on B as the rest of his team make pretty good headway out on towards the A site. The fake, of course, fully in check, and Smooya, what a way to start. Takes down HS with a decisive blow, opens up for a second, Freddy for a third, Epsilon with just two more to find, a bomb ticking on away, Penta looking lifeless.
Indeed, the Tech-9 does get picked up by Zen, but he's already been covered off by Barbar, who challenges out towards Pop Dog. Actually, Zen does get the frag, but Smooya is able to shut down his teammate Sunny. It's all Zen, 50 HP in a dream. Not even the defuse kit's been dropped out somewhere on the B side, I do believe, in Zen. I think he's just going to tuck his tail and run. Not really much of a chance left for him in this round. Penta look to concede the first, take a Tech-9 and run away. His Zen's current attitude might get challenged on by Freddy B, making his way in from T-Con, but I think he's pretty much got this one secure, just trying to hold out for that survivability factor. And Epsilon, of course, will take their first. Very nicely entered on towards the A site. And of course, that Tech-9 Raid Boss surprisingly going in towards B, and Cosmin playing the Sacrificial Lamb. I guess that can open up an opportunity for Smooya to come in and get that triple kill and, of course, get the bomb plant for his team. But either way, regardless of what the strategy is for Epsilon, it does make them thirst. And they're going to go in with this buy up here. AKs, Galil's, UMP. And of course, the standard for Penta Sports, the slight force buy coming out with a scout and some upgraded pistols.
We've got Smooya, interesting stat for you. Smooya has just come hot off the presses of a win with a 1.57 rating up against FlipSide. So he's especially feeling it right now. Of course, they did win out 6-11 just moments ago. So that's an exciting kind of result for them, all things considered, going into a team like Penta, who arguably are on a very kind of up and down caliber at the moment. They've really rose to the top. You know, I'm not sure where they compare against FlipSide, you know, or where FlipSide compare against them, arguably, but the point is, it's a good way to benchmark their results and how they're feeling going into this game. And, well, a pistol, nice way to start, but can they follow up with a second, I guess, is where we now lead to. Smooya gets that pick. So far, so good. They do lose Cosmin's life, though. The Tech-9 gonna trade, but Freddy, again with the rifle, beginning to hammer home the message that Epsilon are here to play. Looking for more, hungry for the connector pick. Smooya gonna be denied, leaving Maeve to get ready to run out on towards B Heaven, as it is gonna be Crystal starting to maneuver himself back in towards connector, looking likely to hit up B, but I think that rotation was just a little too late. So unfortunate scenes for Penta, but you can't really argue with them, because in fairness, this is a bloody hard play for them to make. Far back with a scout that's only getting tags. You got to give Penta almost credit for doing the amount of damage they have done.
Yeah, but it's still going to be the Epsilon's favour, though. 2 versus 4. Maybe even Freddy B going to pick up 2 kills, and Sonny's going to be left alone as the last man for the CT side. Epsilon, nice and easy second round on the board. It wasn't quite as easy as I make it out to be. Of course, there were some seriously low players there from Epsilon. Just a little bit of luck against Penta in that case. A good grenade seemed like it was going to land on the bomb plant when that bomb was going down, but just weren't able to find the kill. Not enough damage being put on the board. So, I mean, good work to them for doing what they did with those pistols, but at the end of the day, it yields nothing. Epsilon get to build, and Penta adapt to the full reset here. Full USPs across the board. Zen's got a P250, but that's about it for Penta. Probably going to be a third round on the board for the Epsilon side. Sonny will go aggressive out towards long, looking for whatever he can in the form of the 2 T-side players who have pushed into T-Con instead. And, well, just whatever they can find here for Epsilon, just farm up the money as much as they can. Maeve and Barbar peeking around with those UMPs. Barbar will get 1, Maeve gets a second, 3 on 5, and these pistols just not holding a candle to what Epsilon are bringing towards the table. HS might get a frag. Yes, he does. Sonny gets 1 as well, so that's 2 for 3. But still, the bombs on the B site is going to get planted, and this retake is pretty much impossible for Penta to win.
Yeah, of course, this is pretty much the one you expect to wipe one away. Thankfully, they do have something up their sleeves, and that is the money-making ability of these UMPs. So in fairness to them, you kind of missed out on the fact that they can make the exit frags more costly for Epsilon. But even with that considered, I mean, saving these UMPs as well is another big boon for Penta. Downside is they would be on that full buy in the next round, though, so it's kind of like, do you want the UMPs, or what do you want to do here? So I'm interested to see what the play they're going to make is ultimately. I'm seeing some interesting muzzle flash coming through a silo. There is no rifle nearby. CSGO being ever so wonderful as always, but jokes are messing around the side. The thought I want to cast your lines to is what's going to happen for Penta in this next round, because this is when they have to show up on their CT side. If they let a team like Epsilon build up, that's when I really begin to get concerned. I mean, you can feel within the tone of my voice just the way I started this that I am feeling like Epsilon are going to be the heavyweights here. Penta, you got to show up so you can reinstill some hope for me, and this is your shot. You've got yourself the AWPs, you're buying up the rifles, the UMPs thrown out the window. What's the play going to be, Jay?
We'll see. We're about to find out. Epsilon making their way into T-Con and Apps once again. A bit of a default coming out from the T-side boys, and so far a relatively passive hold, but actually it does end up with a pick for Smooya. Crystal's down. That's already the AWP straight out of play for Penta. Not much for Crystal to get involved in that case. Meanwhile, over towards Ivy, Freddy B is trying to get something out on Innocent, but just not a whole lot going to be found. There's a little bit of tag damage done, but I think at the end of the day, Epsilon can be happy at the current stance. You know, taking down that first with Smooya landing the pick onto Crystal. Maeve does go falling as he gets a little bit too aggressive out beside the blue train. So it's a 4 versus 4. Penta are able to trade things out and just waiting for whatever Epsilon have to throw at them. I think if they hit B right now, it's going to be a very hard graft for the likes of Zen to hold things out. Still 60 seconds to go, still lots of time for Epsilon to play with, vice versa for Penta. They will hold face and pretty much wait for the next peak to come in from the Swedish team. And it does seem like Freddy B will go ahead and offer that up. Gets tagged up and forced back to retreat.
Barb waiting out, ready to hit back again towards the lower side of B. Of course, Bomb is going to be traded onto us back, thanks to Smooya, who is feeling confident to run forward with this AWP. Meanwhile, on the flip side of the map, it is going to be Innocent, taking the fight to Freddy right up to his face and knocking him out the server. Smooya does find that entry we were talking about, but he's got to build this into a second. He needs that early close-range pick on towards HS. Better yet, take down Innocent, but HS still is the problem, because he's coming flying through a smoke, and Smooya is bloody damn low HP. His back is going to be turned. He's about to get knifed. He gets turned into his fate, but he still falls, and that's the crucial factor alone, as now the molly begins to... Oh, I thought it was going to get thrown, but actually, there's not one at all, so my bad on that front. HS diving around the site, the end of that one. Thought there was a molly, but there was no molly after all. They pick up the EW Epsilon, lock and key, 4-0.
Some misplays still coming.
Do they have a flash, just to double check?
I don't think they did.
What nader was I seeing? I don't know, man. I'm seeing things.
Well, either way, 4-0 for Epsilon. Some slight misplays and mispositions from the Swedes in this case, particularly that key mistake that Smooya also made, almost getting knifed by the likes of HS, but not to be the case today. They do win the round. Some damage sustained for the T side, but should be able to recover in this round. Force buy coming in, or at least a half buy for the Penta side. Scout, M4, a couple of pistols other than that, and that's pretty much all you've got to work with here. So pretty much relying on the close range angles like the likes of Innocent is holding, hoping that somebody from the Epsilon side can just peek straight into that pistol. They can go in the headshot. Meanwhile, actually out towards T-Con, Sunny has got a very good angle, and if Smooya peeks on out here, this could get very, very messy over an AWP versus a P250. Which one's going to win it out? It's the AWP that lands that first frag. Epsilon are expecting it, and Sunny gets punished for his aggression now. Set up towards A looks like the most likely thing at this point in time. Bombs in T-Con, 2 players out towards Ivy, and 1 more out towards the Apps area. Probably could go down towards Pop Dog. Very easy setup for the Epsilon side to bring against the Penta side. Minute to go, so lots of time here. Cosmin expecting aggression. It looks like he's going to go ahead and punish them for it. Takes the first, braces well under the second. Easy as gets lots of damage on the Zen, does go down, but he'll be happy with that double kill. It's a 2 versus 4. It favors Epsilon.
Time ticking on down, coming up to 40 seconds, of course. Penta, really, it just... loose end here. They need to find themselves a way back into this round, already struggling to find themselves some sort of crack to really shoot through. I mean, you've got HS who's going to take advantage of that scope, but even then he's segregated for his teammates. Zen's over on B. He's getting himself up in towards heaven. It's so far apart. There's a smoke now blocking HS as well, bear in mind. So by the time he even gets to look for a pick, is it already considered too late? I mean, HS does find it eventually on towards Freddy, but sure, you claim 1 life. But in return, you'll lose your own. You'll leave your teammate in a 1v3 where the bomb is already pretty far gone. Then he's going to save this. This is going to be Epsilon's 5th round now. That's devastating. This T-side start looking very, very good.
Not really much of a choice for Zen in this case. And as you say, 5 rounds in a row for Epsilon. Penta up to the 5th round loss bonus, so should be a full buy coming out for everybody. But even so, still lots of work for them to do at this point. Let's see where they go for this at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a tactical pause from Epsilon. But it looks like, sorry, from Penta, sorry. But it looks like they're not going to go for it. They're just going to buy up in full. AWPs coming out, M4s. Full sets of utility on several players, but still limited. Execution is available for Epsilon meanwhile. And they're pretty damn set for the moment here. Should be able to rebuy if they lose a round. But as you say, 5-0. They've been doing pretty damn phenomenally at this point in time. Let's see if they can keep this up. Back into that default. T-Con control. Freddy B with the AWP this time around. Smooth's going to back him up with the AK for the trades if Penta do decide to go aggressive. But they've got a default of their own up and towards Ivy aggression. Actually, Innocent's going to peek on out, try to see if he can take anything down. But so far, so slow for Epsilon. Hoping for that first pick, which so far has yielded them round after round in this matchup. This T-side been playing so methodically here from the Swedes. Penta kind of locked out a little bit here, but again, just waiting for their own aggression to come meet them. Waiting for their chance, and it looks like HS will strike. Crystal gets one as well in the exchange. That's 2 early picks. Great start from the CT side.
Yeah, looking good. Penta this time, of course, opting to get up and aggressive on towards that A site, moving very far up towards E-Box and even further towards Pop Dog, and that was beneficial, but there was always the problem that if the T side pushed back, then the trades start to come through. Maeve already starting off this show with that early frag. I mean, he's 11 HP, bear in mind, so it's going to be tough for him to do any more, but he's still going to try. I mean, a headshot towards Sonny could be dismissive. Sonny faces into him, though, so well read by Penta so far. Credit where credit is due. But you've got to be careful not to push up aggressive too far again. Sonny wanted to capitalize off of that smoke, but Barber as well, if he's aware of what's going on, should really be able to hold for this. Smoke to be thrown again to block off Pop Dog. Barber gonna sit in it now, ready to face to the right-hand side, to walk out towards E-Box, gets a few tags in, but nothing too crazy. Barber then taking the fight, punishes Sonny. 1 for 1, looking for connector. Bomb. That's a plant for Epsilon, ultimately. This is not half bad. They got the flank from HS, struggles somewhat, but eventually follows up with 2, though. Thankfully, locking the round in, but very washy steps there for Penta.
Definitely, but you got to give credit where it's due. HS with a triple kill. Opened up the round for the Penta side and closed it out with a nice double as well. So, first round on the board for Penta, but let's go back to the point that you were making. Wishy-washy. It seemed like they'd had
Interesting
a nice
choice of words, but
it's again, like, you know, they had a definitive advantage in that round, but they let them get a bomb plant. They allowed Epsilon that chance to get in and get that extra economical boost, and they already had money to rebuy, so this is even better for them. Full sets of utility out, an AWP that Smooth you can play with, getting back on the AWP and try find that opening pick onto Crystal. And Penta put themselves in a risky position as well, because they are 1 round up here, but this is still reset potential with a double up investment coming on through. Then if they lose all 5 of these weapons, it's going to be a very dire situation for Penta to be in. Fortunately, Crystal does get the opening shot. Freddy B is down, so it's a 5-on-4. And Epsilon have got liberties elsewhere. Not the default that we were expecting. More out towards Pop Dog. Smoothie with the AWP opening things up, or trying to open things up onto Sunny, and isn't able to land it just yet. Crystal peeking through with the AWP, but smartly Epsilon, realizing they've lost that battle, going to rotate Smoothie back out of there and try to set up for a B hit. Smoothie, though, still covering off the rotation. Could catch Sonny off guard close for an AWP. Nice quick scope, gets dinked, but now it's the back off. It's a 4-on-4. Penta have now been even up against for the push to come into B.
yeah, Smoothie given a case of the right time at the right place. HS looking down heaven, gets himself a bit of damage done. Smoothie 8 HP, Barber 22. Waiting it out. It's going to be a pretty heavy aggression coming in through that B ramp, which HS is ready for. Of course, there's a rifle to spawn as well, but in fact, it's all just a bit of a ruse. The flash gets thrown to try and bait them out. Zen is therefore going to push because he wants to solidify that information, as meanwhile, Innocent and Sunny are packing by just 2 well-crafted frag grenades. Now they push through some smokes. Innocent having none of it, sprays on through. Let's rip for the transfer. Doesn't find it, but Crystal still doing God's work with the AWP, dismissing the Epsilon lineup, leaving Cosmine all alone. 3 faces to find, and so many angles left unchecked. He holds 1 corner alone, hoping that that will be the way he can survive. He pushes on forward. He gets ready to take down Crystal, and fair play to the guy. He finds that pick, but he's not ready for Zen. Zen holding an off angle. We'll be able to find it. Penta starting to build their way back into this, and without any more thought to it, I love the double lot setup, and most importantly, I love the aggression towards Ivy.
Nicely played both the orbs stay in play as well for Penta, which is just exactly what they wanted to get out of it. Yes, they do lose 3 players, but they can force their reinvestment. I think the key thing that's next for them is just to get that economy under control. Epsilon are going to force buy in this one. Tech9, Deagle, and UMP coming out besides the 2 AEKs of Smooya and Cosmine. And Penta, of course, are on flaky ground, excuse the pun. So there's still a chance that if Epsilon win this round, that it's still going to get very disastrous for Penta. And indeed, Smooya and Cosmine chiming with 2. AWP from Crystal, though, shuts down the bomb plant. A second flick, he's not going to find it. Barbar shuts him down. It's a 4 versus 2, a 4 versus 1, as Maeve uses the Tech9 and Barbar uses the UMP. That's Zen and HS down. That's a 6th round for Epsilon. And as I say it, Penta will be once again on wishy-washy ground. Force buy looking that could come in here, but it's going to be very, very weak if they do decide to do it.
Come on, Penta, show me that charm. Show me that beauty that has driven Penta to be the strong and talented team that they now are. These guys have not exactly had an easy journey the past few years, but they forged themselves a name, forged themselves a brand that people will remember in Counter-Strike. So this is this chance again for them to really show something for themselves. Epsilon, a team right now who have a lot to prove with the recent roster change and such, constantly trying to revitalize their strategy, constantly trying to find themselves almost an identity, per se. I mean, their prep has not been easy for them. But these teams are actually pretty well matched in a game. So I'd like to see where it's going to go. I mean, Smooya, a fun way to start the show with his early AWP picks, doing what he's known to do. But Penta, there's that confidence. They're beginning to get riled up. They're going for the aggressive play, and look at Maeve. He's caught with his glasses out. No idea what's going on, lining up for a smoke. But you can be staring at the sky. That's right when Penta are ready to strike, and they'll do the same towards Ivy as well. Barbar caught off in Pop Dog. Come on, Penta, you're doing it perfectly. Just keep it going. Keep it serious. There's Epsilon. Move themselves out. Ready to spray on through. Nearly punishing them off. But Dunny, not Cosmine's number.
2v4. Freddie B on 2 HP as well. This is such a difficult situation for Epsilon to come back in. Smooya has to go nuts or go home. Lands a wall banger onto Innocent. That's a good start. They know where he is, though. 2-man advantage dissipating to 1. And both players of the Epsilon side that remain are going to form up out to A1. Try to see if they can fight against it. HS sees Freddie B, though. Drops the bomb as well. They know exactly where to aim. Sunny just needs to watch out for Smooya. They know he's been boosted. And Smooya has to consider his options here. 20 seconds on the board. Bomb control in the CTs. Does he save? Oh, he's heading around towards T-Con. I don't think he's got enough time to make this work. So, yeah, he will be saving with his Tech9 AWP into the next round. And he will be running away, conceding one back to Penta. So, a very good round coming out from them. I was going to say, don't hold your breath, because Epsilon could still come back into this. But in this case, it's not to be. 3-6 favor of the Epsilon side. And now this economy is going to start to take its toll for both teams here. You can see the reinvestment has to come in for Penta. Should be able to get it pretty decently, but it still leaves them on shaky ground. And Epsilon already get Tech9 coming out from Smooya. I think he just brought something for Cosmine, and everybody else may do good to force buy, but Freddie B and Barbar are going to be probably rocking the UMPs or pistol and utility. Indeed, Freddie B. No, he's going to get dropped an AK. So 2 snipers out for Epsilon. 1 is a scout, however. Still could get messy for the team side. Back into that default. More centered towards B site this time, and Penta. We're going to defend the standard once again. Cosmine actually going to go straight out as is Smooya. He gets shut down immediately by HS, and Cosmine takes the frag onto Crystal. HS chimes in with his double now, and now the bomb's making its way on towards the B site. There's Maeve getting a kill on the Zen, flying out towards Connect. 36 HP on Sunny. He wins out the second Angel on 3 HP. Regardless, the bomb should go down any second now. Whenever Maeve's ready, it's a 2 versus 3 retake. It's heavily favored to the Epsilon side.
Oh, what a beautiful nade, though. Comes right in from HS. Gets himself his 3rd kill of the round. Doing all of the work for Penta right now. Pulling all of the strings. But 2 more kills are still left to be found. Through the fire and the flames, Penta will go. As Epsilon are putting up a very hard fight. This site hop from them is... I'm going to go as far to say impeccable. I mean, sure, they don't have too much to work with here, but... in the form of utility at least, but they do have the positions. They have Heaven and Ramp. The minute HS gets on this bomb, Freddy will begin to get tempted to walk on forward. He eventually will have to peek. He'll find 1. He even gets the spray transfer for the 2nd. Meanwhile, of course, he's got support from Heaven coming in. It's the perfect dynamic duo. You cannot complain at all.
No, you cannot. Perfectly done from Epsilon now, up 7-3 here. And Penta... now, finally, that economy situation is starting to rear its ugly head. Just pistols. 5.7s, P250s. Sure, Zen's got the Kevlar. There's a flashbang on Crystal, but that's nothing compared to what Epsilon have. Full AKs across the board. They're ready just to shut everybody down, and indeed that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Sonny goes down first, Barbar's watching out for Zen's aggression. Cosmine is going to get innocent, and Barbar does chime in onto Zen. Freddy gets killed, and that's easy as no men die for the Epsilon side. That's 8-3. A full 5 rounds between the two teams, and Epsilon have managed to force Penta into a pause at this point. They've won the half, and Penta now needs to start thinking.
Yeah, Penta really got a lot to do in this pause as well. I mean, you have to start running through the thoughts of what do they change, what do they do. I mean, so far, if you want to talk about their play, their A-site setup actually feels pretty good. There's a few issues in it here and there, but for the most part, I feel like the big weaknesses come down towards B. You know, if you think about it, Epsilon, one of the biggest points of abuse has been just the way they can force the frags from low. I mean, usually we're seeing 2 or 3 people run on down, the flash gets thrown just towards small ramp, then they come flying out through that first train, H2, they dip to their right, and then you have that kind of alleyway between the bomb train and H2. Those are the fights they take, and they seem to win them fairly consistently, or at least finding the trades towards the back of Yellow Train and ultimately the Cold Train as well. Now, you add in the support they get towards that Heaven or Big Ramp, however you want to put it, it leads to a pretty decisive B take overall from Epsilon. So for Penta, you know, in terms of changes, I'd like to see them just look to reform what they're doing on B, whether they want to play further back towards the likes of Connector, whether they want to put more AWP pressure down if they can afford it. I mean, that's a problem in itself, right? Their economy is always getting boned. Time and time again, they cannot get these full rifles out. They're struggling with utility. Whether they want to take the fight to them and go aggressive towards small ramp, sit up on the ledge, or even flash their way through and try and push up towards Pop Dog. I feel like they're not out of options. They're not lost, but they need to start demonstrating they do have something in their playbook, because B, it's looking stagnant.
Still in pause for Penta this time around. For the most part, it does look like their strategy into this round is going to be a force buy. For Masters coming out, UMP, and 4 and HS as well. Quite a lot of utility out for the Penta side. So still a fight to be had for these boys over on CT. Epsilon, of course, have that full AK. Not going to drop the not going to drop one for an AWP. Hold on to what they've got, get the most value out of it as they can, because even their money line is not looking at 100% here. Still got 2250 down on Maeve, the poorest player for Epsilon, so still got to be slightly careful if you're a T-side member. Here we go, into that default. Actually, in towards the apps area will go most of the players from Epsilon. A 3-1 split for the B site here. Only one man
just
to
got one
defend
player
far
B.
range. Exactly.
I have to interject. Why the read has been that Epsilon have been abusing them on B over and over again, whether it's a fake play that they wrap back towards A and Penta still feel like they have to rotate because of that B barrage, or just in fact they're going to hold on to the site itself. I mean, there's no way Zen does enough to hold the site. They're expecting to have to retake from Penta here, so sure, you can then argue they're playing for the retake setup. That's all it is. It's a setup. But I don't like it. Right now, I'm concerned. A second player comes on over to join Zen. That, of course, being Crystal. They're starting to move up, but they're still quite far apart. You still got Epsilon ready to face from heaven. They're ready to take that fight. I mean, all I'm seeing from Penta is them run around in circles, struggling to decide what they're going to do. Flashes get thrown. Already, Epsilon are out on the site. Zen just left dazed and confused. Penta are looking like a deer in headlights on B. Finally, Crystal swings out, denies the plant from Freddy. But how much more are they going to do?
Misses the grenade as well, so the bomb plant will be allowed eventually for Epsilon 4 versus 4. Crystal leading the charge, and Maeve is watching out from Connector. 2 players there to find, but the smoke will cover their cross pretty effectively. HS will get some fire down. He manages to take down Maeve as well. Cosmine out towards the bomb site itself, takes down Innocence. Mooney gets a kill. It's a 2 versus 3, and 1 player's low HP. That's Jesse finally goes falling. It's Sunny alone with the UMP in his hand as players moving up all around him at this point, up at heaven, down on the site, and Smooya is the man that closes it down for the double kill for him. 9-3, and the lead of Epsilon starts to extend further and further. Penta are down in the dumps with their money once again. 3 rounds of lost bonus after a bite means it's got to be an eco, and this CT side is just looking a little bit poor, and I think that's just saying the least. Like you said, you know, the same issue that they had last time around, putting Zen as the only man on the B site, and Epsilon exploited that in its finest. That B hit was pretty much almost uncontested. They did have Crystal there in time, but either way, it's
I mean,
still
they just played into
favor.
them. They walked out upper. I mean, I keep calling it heaven as a bit of a go-to for me right now, and that phrase actually symbolizes quite well with what it is for Epsilon. It's heaven. It's the perfect world. Getting to walk out like that. You couldn't ask for anything better. So Penta, they need to change it, but arguably it's getting to that point of already being too late for them to change it. It's 9-3 right now. Penta, I don't know if I'd go as far to say guaranteed, because, you know, I've seen worse things happen due to pistols. But it's pretty damn likely, let's be realistic, that they drop this round because they are just sitting there with 5-7s and such. That's going to put Epsilon up to 10. Epsilon right now, they're seeing a whole lot of red. They're seeing brutality. They're thinking 12-3, let's do this, baby. Penta, what are they going to show themselves to respond to that? 1 buy where they put another player 1B? No, they've got to make that change.
So far, Epsilon once again going to just go completely around the Penta line of defense. Zen's up in heaven. And Bomb's going to get planted. Smooth's going to call it out. There's no one here, but finally does spot out the lone CT. And once again, Penta look to concede another round. It is an eco, of course, so there's not really much to it. But in this case, their fights are just not going their way. Crystal seemed like he had a chance against Freddie B, but he's dead as well. Sunny, next man up to the chopping block. You guys falling. That's 3 kills for the man. And HS. Take one again. We'll take one away from Smooth. All right, fine. 1 AK. Can we save it, though? Cosmin looking to try and challenge and see if he can shut this one down. Spots him, takes him out. That's it. That's 10 rounds on the board for Epsilon. Penta now, probably their last buy in this half. Or at least their last full buy. They will have a decent force buy in the next one. But they need to make something work here. 10-5 wouldn't be that bad of a score, and they have to have a monster T side to make it work. But they need to find at least 5 rounds here, I think. We can see in this next one, probably not going to be too likely to take the next one after that. That'll be 12-3. And after that, Epsilon win the pistol. That's GG. AWP is coming out from both sides. Smooya and Crystal. Each for their respective teams.
What we're seeing right now is actually a big improvement from Penta. They've adapted to the fact that they can abuse Pop Dog. They know they can get a lot of Pop Dog control very early on. So they go together to do it. It's going to be Sunny and HS to support that venture. They have a player close up towards heaven. Sure, Barbar is going to peek around and win the individual battle anyway, but that's still well fought from Zen. He tried at the end of the day. So far I'm seeing a little bit of a sign of life from Penta, but what are they going to do? Well, they've pushed up through Pop Dog and they've capitalized on that control to wrap around and claim the life of Barbar. Now, if they can have that hold towards Ivy, they've been able to do pretty well all game. This is a round that Penta can take. It's a 4v4. Epsilon looking for that opportunity. They're going to throw a lengthy amount of utility down towards Ivy, so Penta will concede it. But this is something they've been able to hold all game long. They just sit far back, they wait for the pushes to come through, and they line them up and they knock them down. It's a game of bowling, in effect, to Penta. And they're doing a good job so far. But things can change. Smooya looks to throw a wrench in the works with that AWP. Sunny, though, still towards Pop Dog, could well take him down with pretty simple ease. Smooya tucked in, though, survives. Cosmin popping off. I said we need to keep an eye on him, and that is why. Back-to-back headshots. Smooya with the AWP pops out towards Sunny. And Epsilon, that one wrench, that one problem, turns it all into a round that they win.
And that might all turn it into a monster T-side half as well. Penta up for a force buy for round number 15. Not much of a choice. They're all going with whatever they've got. Mag 7 on Zen. I imagine he'll be playing close in Pop Dog. Or he could just go aggressive at the B ramp. Actually, that's exactly what he's going to be doing here. 2 FAMASes, an M4, and a UMP, which the UMP actually will peek out and take down Smooya. So a great start from Penta, but you can already see the aggression coming in from Epsilon. I think they want to get this one over and done with because they know that they are at such a nice lead here. Penta, 11-4 would be a good scoreline. Meanwhile, up at Pop Dog, Cosmin actually loses the bomb to the Mag 7 of Zen. Sunny going to rotate on through. Doesn't see the gun barrel. Oh my god. That's not good at all. Barbar shutting him down. A kill that they didn't need to lose. The 4-on-3 will still ensue. That is 1 man for 2. Epsilon's still stuck in a sticky situation. They don't have bomb control either. Penta smartly wrapping 2 players in there. And AK from us. Just ready to try and defend against it. Try hold this down for the next 60 seconds.
This flank, though, look at the confidence on Freddy. He's got himself in such an unknown angle, such an unsurprising angle. Maeve in that telltale sign, the spot that last round, it took the win for them. And he's going to do it again. Takes down Innocent, leaves it to a 2v2. HS, completely unaware of the situation, is being scoped out by Freddy right through a smoke. Walking around, ready to take a fight, but Freddy this time opting to move closer towards Bathroom. Crystal has a chance to take down Maeve. Famus gets down the shots, but Crystal taking too much damage. Now has to hold the headshot angle, getting risky. Freddy back turned. Doesn't mean HS makes it to a man advantage. Crystal still 2 HP. They've got bomb control. They're waiting. They're waiting for the jump right up that ladder. Maeve spots him out, goes to the wallbang, doesn't quite find it. And that's when he knows his chances are done.
That's going to be the end of the scoreline of the half. 11-4 to the favour of Epsilon. Penta not doing well at all on CT side. Really didn't go that well for them. I think it's mostly just down to repeating strategies, of course, just putting 1 player out towards that B site, which is something they didn't correct until, I think, a very late pause. Let's see if they can make this T side work. Again, it has to be just as monstrous as Epsilon made theirs. And a pistol would be a great start for them. if they wanted to make it work. It's going to be Armor coming out for several players. Crystal in with that utility buy, 2 flashes and a smoke. And Maeve with the smoke and defuse kit for the Epsilon CT side. Let's see where Penta play this one. I'm quite curious to see particularly how they play this. They're going to get 1 smoke out, a flashbang already on through, and I think they're just trying to fake out the A site, maybe try and pull the rotation. They have left the bombs, so they're not going to go ahead and wrap their way into a site particularly quickly, but they are trying something against the Epsilon side. I'm not sure what. But so far, just very aggressive angles being held by Epsilon. 2 players pushed up into Pop Dog and 2 into Heaven as well. Not one challenging just yet. Innocent might get caught off, or he might catch off guard 2 players. Let's find out though. Penta wrapping their way on through. They're going to go ahead and support him.
Beginning to gear up towards that take. Expecting few early fights to come through. Maeve actually going to opt to rotate towards B, which is going to bolster double upper play. Of course, Freddy and Cosme, the 2 to lead the charge in that regard. Going to be there ready to shoulder peek out and also hold the headshot angle if they do push on through. So 2 very different styles, but could be very rewarding. And to do both that way, which they are going to be going for, bear in mind. They're all right now heading towards that one lower side of ramp, but that's a perk for Epsilon, as it means they can wrap in behind, and not such a big problem. Smooth completely blind in this one means that he's going to be overwhelmed by blocks, but that's the return push I'm talking about. Cosme walks up, headshots, 1 looks towards Heaven. The T-side are completely dazed and confused. They have no idea that Cosme is Heaven, and it's going to be the repetitious play from the CTs that allow them to hammer that one home.
Again, such a crucial mistake, and just one that didn't even need to make. Penta just not checking one of the angles. They took down 1 player, didn't expect the second to be there, didn't account for everybody for the Epsilon side, and as a result, just easy swing and a hit for the headshots of that USP. That's going to be a pistol round that Penta almost needed to win. It's going to go to the favor of Epsilon. They will force buy into this next round. PT50 is coming out, Deagles, Tech 9, a few smokes as well, so we could see the pistol rush on the A site, pistol execution. But Freddy B's already shut down the first in Sunny. He's dead. Didn't have any utility on him, so not too much of a hit to whatever Penta had planned. And indeed, I think it looks like it's going to be the pistol execution to come on through. Freddy B and co look poised to try and receive against it. Innocent also going to go ahead and join his brethren in the Pop Dog area. Here they come. Freddy B hears the footsteps, takes down Zen, starts things off, drops the bomb, looking for Innocent, taps his way on 56 HP, 55. Innocent does take the headshot back, so it's a 4-on-3. HS doing whatever you can with the Deagle, but not able to land a kill, only tag damage. Barbar gets caught off guard by the flashbang, but nobody pushes him through from the smoke, and the bomb's going to be allowed to go down. Almost takes down his teammates, Brave on a HS. Crystal's going to get outflanked, and Cosme takes down a M4 kill. A 4 versus 2. Only HS and Innocent. Innocent will get 1 kill. HS gets traded out, and Innocent goes falling as well, so Penta will make it half work. They get a bomb plant, but not around. I think that's all they were really looking for, though. 13-4. Penta, not going to be enough to buy up here, but I think they're going to be looking for the stronger buy in the next round.
Kind of feel bad for Penta, to be honest, because it kind of feels like we're still in the first half. It's the same sort of small subtleties that are taking over. I mean, you throw back to the pistol, the phrase they used there was repetitious, I believe, and it kind of does sum up this game for me right now. It's kind of Penta getting themselves in good positions at times. You know, sure, they did fall short quite a lot in terms of the rotation such in the first half, but that's not what we're getting at here. We're just talking about the small rotations, the small little peaks and the positional play from them, and it's a lot of small mistakes that build up to be pretty damn important, and it just kind of sucks for them. They've just not had a good start considering the scoreline. At 13-4, they needed that pistol. I mean, now in this third round of the second half, what are they going to do with these pistols? They're going to try and force them out toward the site, get a pick here and there, and see if they can make something work, but you're clutching at straws.
Opening pick onto Sunny, though. That's all they're really going to have to do at this point. Epsilon just get the picks, rake in the money with the UMPs. Maybe gets 1. Barbar going to see if we can deny a plant. Actually falls to the clutches, goes a little bit too aggressive, and Crystal catches him off guard. It's a 3v3, and they've got a couple of rifles to play with Penta. Still could be doable. Crystal spots out 1, I think. Spots out 1, but yeah, finally out towards Connector. Cosme gets tagged at 24 HP. Haters and Innocent are pretty worse off. Crystal has to get this kill. He's not going to be able to do it. Freddy B takes him down. They're looking for HS, and HS is just waiting for someone to tap the bomb. Indeed, Freddy B does. Innocent gets tagged up. He goes falling. HS gets 2 headshots. However, this can still be doable. No, Cosme takes him down, but Cosme's just got the defuse kit, and he will be able to get the defuse on through. So Penta doing a lot of damage at least. It's going to keep it to 14-14, but this next buy needs to work out for them. They need to make this round not only work, but they need to make it into a round. They cannot just do damage. They cannot let Epsilon get away and have to save. else, this one's going to be game, set, and match to the favour of Epsilon. 10 rounds of deficit that Penta need to make up, and they're up against a double orb setup, a deadly combination of Smooya and Barbar. This is going to be extremely difficult for them.
Keep your eyes peeled on HS as well, bear in mind, because if you look at the scoreboard, it really tells a tale of just how hard this one man has tried to keep his team afloat. The difference between him and the rest of his squad, it's almost monumental. 19 to 13 in comparison to the rest of his team, all having themselves 7 picks. Certainly interesting to keep an eye on, but for now, we are just going to sit tight. We'll wait it out.
AK's up against the double orb. Here they come. Mostly just waiting out for whatever Epsilon have to throw at them. Sunny and HS, particularly from Ivy playing. Well, actually, I'm not really sure what they're playing. I've not actually seen this strategy used ever. And Epsilon much more passively holding. They've actually got a player back in spawn. I'm not sure if that's Freddy B completely lagging out or something's going on right now. I think they might be.
It's either lag.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm seeing Cosme just stand still right now as well. Yeah, Zen's dead, so it's an Epsilon issue actually. Judging by the fact that that's happened. So we are more than likely going to be seeing a rollback come through. I mean, just to talk about the strategy, I mean, there's not really too much to say, but you know, if Penta were in that position, they're probably thinking of themselves right now in general, no matter that round, that you know, Epsilon are going to get over aggressive, they're going to get greedy. So it's kind of nice for them to be waiting for these pushes. It'll be kind of curious to keep an eye on how they want to play it later on, though. I think that's going to be the problem for them, right? Because as much as you want to sit in your default and take advantage of any teams that push, if Epsilon don't give them anything to work with, if they just sit that far back like they were doing in that round, or they've been doing in previous rounds as well in that first round, then you ask the question of, okay, Penta, what's your fallback plan? What's your execute going to try and pull off? I mean, they have all the utility required to go for an execute, but is it going to work? I mean, it's a hard question to answer, but I guess there's the floor work for the opportunities of Penta at least.
Well, for now, quick tech pause coming on through. We'll roll this one back. So this round doesn't count. We're not at match point just yet. We're at 14 to 4, despite what GoTV will tell us. We're missing one person from the Epsilon side, and we'll get back into this matchup very, very quickly indeed. So do bear with us for a second. But let's talk about particularly what Penta need to do. Because like I said, you know, this is going to be such a crucial round for them to win. Match point up for Epsilon if they take this, and more than likely, considering the money situation of Penta, we're going to be seeing probably game if they take this next round. All rest here right now. Penta need to stop relying on HS, I feel. Need to start thinking about, you know, potentially starting to step up a little bit.
In fairness, I think he's playing well and he's trying to create opportunities for his team, trying to create space for them to work with. I think it's just, again, kind of going back to the phrasing I used before, it's those small subtle things. It's the positional play, it's the team cohesion at times that just catch them off on train. You know, I don't want to go as far to say they're not well practiced enough, because that wouldn't be fair to say. This is one map, so the sample size here isn't huge enough. I'm not going to sit here and say that I've also watched hundreds of hours of Penta playing this map before. But what I feel like we can say is that, judging by what we've seen so far, just in the current present scenario, there are issues in the way they construct their play. What do they need to change again to kind of beat that dead horse, if you want to go there? They just need to do something together, something as a unit. You know, I talked about an execute. Maybe the execute could be the best decision for them. Just go something, smoke play towards A, push together, make sure you flash yourself in. And I just kind of want to see two players push up and try and single target out a few of the Epsilon members, try and stop someone like Cosmine, who I mentioned from day one of this game. I was like, Cosmine, he's been awake recently. He's 24 to 8 right now, top frag in the server. If they can shut him down, they can start dealing with Freddy and Smooya. That's maybe their way back in, but dude, it's 14-4. Lax language, casual language to go as far to say, but a fair way to describe the situation at least.
Yeah, definitely the odds are against Penta. As I say, lots of work to do, if not, it's a very impossible matchup. Let's see if the comeback could still be on. I'm not going to count that out just yet. 10 rounds between the two teams, and we have got Freddy B back in the server, of course. Just waiting for that round roll back before we can get back into the matchup. Of course, the scoreline is currently inaccurate on your screens. It's not match point for Epsilon, not yet. I predict it may be by the end of this round, but let's do this fair and square. Let's allow Penta the chance. Yeah, definitely a difficult comeback. You think that basically we need to take it back to basics. You think that we need to be seeing an execution to come out from the Penta side, you think that, so just trying to sum up your thoughts very quickly, and making sure that I understand what the hell you're
We
saying.
haven't seen enough on their T side to really judge their T side. Let's be, fair to Penta again. We've played 3 rounds of Counter-Strike with Penta on their T side. They just didn't give themselves enough to work with from the first half. I think we've beaten a dead horse with kind of what they've done now and the problems almost. We talked about all the problems that led up. We talked about the pistol as well. The pistol was literally coming down to one small decision of not to send someone heaven. If they sent one player heaven, for example, the pistol completely different round. But they didn't. So Cosmine got himself a triple kill. I believe it was Cosmine. It's none of the small things like that, but it is what it is. 14-4 is the current scoreline. We're waiting it out. Back in the server, these players are, and the tech issue should get itself resolved relatively soon. But in the meantime, let's talk about the rest of tonight as well, bear in mind, because we've got a stacked schedule of Counter-Strike for you guys tonight, folks. It's going to be an exciting one, of course. This is going to be the double header. Penta playing again versus Space Shoulders up next, then Spirit versus Gux and Friends before we close out the night with Team 123, though I think that game may have been rescheduled, so don't hold me to that last game. I'll get that 100% confirmed for you guys in the meantime, but the Penta double header is a topic in itself, right? Space Soldiers, how do Penta face off up against Space Soldiers after the potential of this sort of result?
We have seen Penta kind of suffer to the clutches of aggressive teams in the past. Space Soldiers known to be one of those aggressive teams, and in this case, Epsilon also aggressive of their own right. Very aggressive T side, very aggressive CT side as well. It's kind of cost Penta a couple of frags here, there, and even a few rounds. So I feel like the next match for Penta and Space Soldiers is going to be kind of a challenge for them. Of course, that is another match for, well, whenever this match goes ahead and gets itself done. It is scheduled to start at the moment, but we are running a little bit over, so do bear with us once this tech pause does get over. For those of you who are just joining us, we are currently paused, waiting for a round rollback into the last round, since we did have Freddie B disconnect just before the round, or just after the round started. So the official scoreline is 14-4. So when we come back into it, we should be able to get into the meat of it. We should be able to find a conclusion. If Epsilon win it, of course, that does probably mean that they're going to be able to take it 16-4. Penta just basically playing to either save this or basically delay the match until, well, Epsilon can find that one round. For now, though, just waiting on whatever.
I'll tell you what, Jay.
Mice
I've got a
are running
solution
away
to you,
in the server room.